Hello, everyone. My name is jennyb, and I want to first of all thank everyone for your kind words and the prayers for my daughter. I was worried about sharing that with her because my kids are very private. But I told her that all of you were praying for her, and I read some of the comments to her, and she was very happy. She smiled, and then she leaned forward to give me a hug. So thank you so much for that. Let me just, sorry, I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, and I have to have these all on camera. Okay. And we're late because I'm having issues with my internet service. I recently switched and wanted to do the higher speed, but it's been going out constantly, and I've been on the phone with them for the past 12 days. It was supposed to be fixed yesterday, but it didn't get fixed. So I'm gonna cross my fingers. I'm sure this will upload, but that's why the delay, because this has been going on for a long time. I can't even scroll through Facebook on my Mac. So I want to thank Paula for pointing out to me that I had mentioned, Metatron actually said during a video that I made about it must have been around the 4th of July last year, when there were tanks in the streets, and Metatron said that it was a foreshadowing, because here we are. And I'll talk more about this next week. I actually asked permission to do that video today. I was like, please just bring me a sign. And usually then it's like, but no sign. And then the next time I looked at the clock, it was 11:18. And so I had missed 11:11. So I was like, okay, I guess we're doing that next week. He's saying next week would be a more fortunate time for that message. So that will come up next. That will be out next week. Not sure what day yet, and I hesitate to say because I've been wrong about that a lot. I want to explain something about what's happening with Venus right now. So Venus is retrograde in Gemini, and if you've ever seen the video, there are several videos out. I'm sure you could just Google it. You just Google the dance of the sun and Venus, and you can see how she forms the pattern of sacred geometry while she goes around the sun. So today she has her, on June 3rd, she has her what's called an inferior conjunction. And when planets disappear from the sky, like when she comes into that close proximity with the sun, or any planet comes that close to the sun, they are no longer visible to us. And the energy of the planet is intercepted. It's like caught in the blaze of the sun. And traditionally, just throughout human history, when that happens, there's war. It's mainly war that goes on. So that all took place. She disappeared about the time that happened in Minneapolis. And we have so many other things happening going into that where people are unhappy, people are having problems with work, and there's just so many things going on in the United States anyway, that this was sort of like what he's showing me, that it was like a tinder box, and somebody lit the flame. The officer lit the flame. I've been trying to post. And of course, I know that there are exceptions to this. I have 3 Aquarian children, and my middle child showed me all of the videos that have been coming in with police behaving badly during the protests, not the looting. That's different than protesting. Looting is not protesting. But it's been nice to see the reaction from law enforcement in a lot of places. They've been really standing with the people, and I really think that this is going to be a significant moment of change. I appreciated the words of George W. Bush and the defense secretary today, and And so I think that we need to just, take a collective deep breath and watch these things unfold, and not to be stirring the pot more, not to be quiet or just let it go on and pretend like we're so spiritual. But, I've seen like name calling and all kinds of things. So, if we can just, here's the thing, if somebody sees anyone, and let's forget color, let's just leave color out of it. If anybody sees a video of a man being killed by another man as he's pleading for air, and they don't care, you are not going to say anything that's going to convince them that was wrong. And so we just want to be careful with our energy and where we're directing it right now. We're going to do some work releasing some things at the end of the video. And just to make sure, because of what's happening with the planet Neptune right now, a lot of us have very porous boundaries. And it's like there's no definition between our space and what's going on out there. I can feel it when I wake up in the morning. So we are going to do just a real quick clearing with that. And then the eclipse that we have coming up, and I don't have, oh yes I do, sorry. I forgot that I dropped my glasses on the floor earlier. So we're going to go through the chart, and then Metatron for the eclipse that we have on the 5th. And Metatron then asked me to pull cards because he said that some of you are looking for specific direction, and he wanted me to pull cards so that you're able to get that message, whatever that message is for you. Of course, it's for all of us, but there are specific messages in the cards, so we're gonna take a look at that. So here is the chart for our eclipse coming on the 5th. And obviously, eclipse energies typically they amp up to a month ahead of time. In 2020, by the way, we have 6 eclipses. Typically there are 4. So it's not like so crazy unusual, but it is unusual to have 6. So in case things weren't intense enough for you, now we're about to have 3 eclipses, but we're already in that energy full swing. I think it began a couple of weeks ago, to be honest with you. So here we have the chart for the full moon, and I always do universal time for the charts. We have the moon sitting at the 15th degree of Sagittarius. The 15th degree of Sagittarius is very significant because what is located there is called the Great Attractor. It's a giant black hole that they don't know a whole lot about, except that it pulls in other galaxies. It swallows things up. And the Sabian symbol, or I believe it was actually the Omega symbol, speaks to feelings of loss, believing that something is lost. The Sabian symbol is about a groundhog coming out to see his shadow. It kind of reminds me of the meme I put up yesterday of somebody looking outside to see what chapter of the book of Revelations we're living today. So, but the Sun and Venus are still in that really close conjunction, and they are, so you can see them just next to the number 7. You see Venus with the little R because she's retrograde, and there is the Sun. And then in the middle of that, we have Ceres, Nessus, Mars, and Neptune. And they fall right in the 3rd house of communication. And so what this chart is speaking to, and then I don't know if you see that little blue line, but I don't know, that's really not a sextile, but they're making contact with the Jupiter, Pluto, Pallas Athena, and Saturn. They're all retrograde there, with Archangel Gabriel's asteroid too is retrograde, and they're speaking to Nessus, who is about abuse, and Mars, who is blind in Pisces, now coming up to Neptune. So what this configuration says is that like for just generally for all of us, is that there's going to be a lot of media frenzy and propaganda. It looks like propaganda or like deep fakes, that sort of thing coming up. It's funny because I had already decided that I was going to talk about that in the video, and then I saw an article about deep fakes, and and then two of the like pot stir news networks that we have here in the United States were both recently caught fudging video, editing to make it look like what they wanted it to look like. That kind of thing. That's what this energy is. And so we need to really be careful with what we believe right now. And not just about like what's going on in public, but individually, our beliefs, things that it's time to set aside. The moon also links to like what we inherit from the past. And a lot of this is about leaving behind that old story, turning the page on what we were, like the programming that we got that was not true, but that our inner child in the subconscious still believes. And a lot of these programs have to be tested using kinesiology to see if you're holding that story in your body. But we don't need to. It's not possible for us in one lifetime to completely go through every false thing that we're holding in the DNA. But we can overcome it by making our thinking, reprogramming our thinking, deciding that when you hear that voice saying like, and it feels like it right now, like, when is this going to get better? What the hell is going on? There's a lot of hopelessness in the air, in the ethers right now. And so really believing, trusting, having faith, believing, that's the higher Pisces energy, instead of being dismayed by what we might see happening, and depending on what you're ingesting, being really careful just because you hear something on YouTube without any actual evidence. A lot of 2020 is that things are happening right in front of people's eyes, and they just refuse to believe it. Because they like the story that they agree with already. So being really careful with that. But also, not trying to dissuade someone from their opinion, letting people believe what they want to, because otherwise that could just be, it could just go into a huge, like you don't know where it's coming from. I mean, I commented on another astrologer's post, and he's a very soft-spoken guy. And I said, oh, why aren't you using Mercury as health, in this whole write-up that he did? And just pointing out that there was a different way to see it. And I woke up and I was like, whoa, so just, and I really was just asking a question. So, just people are real defensive right now. And if they feel like you are trying to convince them of your point, they're just going to be angry. So really keeping our opinions to ourselves, unless of course there's a reason to be giving it. But, trying to convince someone else, a lot of like Sagittarius is ultimately about truth and belief and faith. And, it's about being able to hold the higher vision, the vision of the higher consciousness, the higher self, even when there's reasons to doubt. I just think back to what the council said in the video, the end of corruption, and about the Pluto return, which we're pretty much in. I mean, Pluto came just a few degrees from Saturn, or from the Pluto of the United States before he moved retrograde. No, actually, no. I think he came right up there. But all of these planets, in Capricorn are about, of course, the fall of the old patriarchal systems, outdated, outworn values that have found their ways into our institutions. It's about getting rid of all of that and building something new. And so, we've already talked about many times, this whole configuration is about abuse of power, control, firing on peaceful protesters to have a photo op. That's the energy that we have right now. And so that's not going to change anytime soon. And I remember the council saying that things are going to get darker. And at the time, I thought it was dark. Honestly, like, who knew what was coming? But this is also a time when we're not going to, like, we'll see, like, happy stories. Like, I try to post, like, as many positive things as possible. But getting our happiness is going to come from within. This is when we're really going to have to dig in and do the rituals of self-care and really telling ourselves a good story. Like, if you have a list of affirmations that you do from time to time, this is a great time to do that. And of course, this is a new moon lunar eclipse. But it's a south node eclipse. So eclipses happen when the moon is in the sign of the nodes of the moon, and the moon, or the true node, just moved into Sagittarius, and the moon is in Sagittarius. The moon has a lot to do with our habits, patterns, habitual patterns that he's saying, that we cling to for comfort because it's safe, it's what we know, this is how I've always felt better doing this. That's probably not going to be so satisfying right now. Things that we do that may be a bit self-destructive. I know I have habits that I'm curbing right now. And this is a really good time to drop a bad habit, because we've got, all of the potential to just like be done completely with whatever it is. Not beating yourself up. Like Metatron always says, give yourself permission. The guilt is what makes it drain us. It's the guilt when we're doing things that we feel, guilty about. It's the guilt. It's not the action. So if there is something that you're still doing, just be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Talk to yourself as if you were a close friend of yours who is struggling with that same thing. And I'm talking a lot about addictions with this. So it's a really good time to set a new plan. I'm not going to say that you're going to have the answers, and he speaks to that in the cards, because when Mars is this close to Neptune, it's like that picture that I posted of the bridge with the fog. We can't really see what's next, but always trusting that what's coming next is helpful. And for the end of corruption video, when I talked about the Mars return, I believe that what they were speaking to happening, coming about with this, is setting off the energy for us to, dismantle the military industrial complex. And that may take a whole new revolution of Pluto, which is about 250 years. So change is never fast, when you're talking about that kind of systemic change where we're rebooting the entire system. So really just being patient, allowing things to unfold, trusting that what is coming next for you is going to bring you happiness and reward. And the symbol for 27 degrees of Capricorn, where Jupiter, who rules this new moon, is sitting, is a mountain pilgrimage. Highs and lows. The mountain pilgrimage is an image of climbing high while prostrating low in supplication. The dynamics are defined by getting low in order to go high, getting high in order to get down low. Themes of ecstasy and despair apply. Intense moods of loss and superhuman gain are relevant. Whatever comes about seems to appear in forceful bursts of energy, bringing awareness of extreme possibilities to bear. So it's like that energy of like what's going on, what's happening, and so really, like, if we aren't taking care of our own vibrations, we're going to feel like we're being, tossed around like so many people are feeling right now. I wanted to mention too that Venus finishes her retrograde on the 25th. She is back in bounds now. And then I want to also just make note that June 29th, Mars enters Aries. On the 20th, we have the solar eclipse It also happens to be the solstice, and the sun is not shown. So that gives us a bit of indication of what is coming next. We'll see. It could just be like a whole new change for the entire world. I haven't actually looked to see if that eclipse goes over North America. But here we're going to get to the cards now. So I'm using the Mystical Shaman Oracle, Alberto, Villoldo, Colette, Baron-Reid, and Marcela, Lobos. And I will leave that in the description box. So the first card that he had me pull is the curse. I say as I laugh. The curse refers to the limiting stories of our ancestors and the karma from former lifetimes that preordains the events of our lives. It is the source of negative patterns, and it can show up as a disease, a destructive force, or a blockage on our creative energy. The curse holds us hostage to a false story that we confuse for reality. Recognizing the original wound that is playing out in our life can heal it. Changing the thinking, poverty consciousness, all of the things that we inherited from our ancestors, our parents, looking at us like they were disappointed, or we believed that that's what it was, but it was really just that they were unhappy. And as a child, we confused that they were unhappy with us, that we had done something to displease them, that we weren't enough. The Smokey Mirror. The Smokey Mirror represents the aspects of what is implied, yet cannot be immediately known in the world. The mystery of how things come together and how they fall apart without obvious casualty. This symbol also represents the shadow of the human psyche, the parts of the self that one disowns. The Smokey Mirror can also represent a state of denial or inability or refusal to see the truth. Understanding the shadow of the human journey requires that you go deep into your story to discover the wound that prevents you from seeing the truth of your current situation. Your fears and expectations of disappointment and unworthiness may be clouding your capacity to see the potential in yourself and others. And there's a lot of Smokey Mirror going on for a few weeks now, because Venus was squaring Neptune. She's still, there's not that close to a square anymore, but now, Neptune is squaring all those planets as they go through Gemini. And, Gemini season, it's not hard. It's just a more challenging time to be centered and be grounded and feel calm. That's always the case with the Gemini season, because we have the trickster energy happening. And then we have the hummingbird. Despite being so little, hummingbirds are great journeyers, migrating between North and Central or South America to feed from the summer nectar. This gentle creature can be fiercely territorial to protect its home. Hummingbird teaches us to be gentle to ourselves and protect our own space. Hummingbird invites you to embark on your epic quest. Bypass the dung pile of old pain and hurts, head for the flowers, and learn to trust the calling you hear ever so softly. And I heard another astrologer talking about this as well. Just because we can't see the path, that's part of the lesson of that Mars Neptune being together, because Mars is the self, our ambitions, our goals, our aim, where we're going, like what is driving us forward, and Neptune is like, where am I? So if you don't have all of the answers, it's really just trusting that the creator will make a way. When I decided that I was going to do this, I'm not going to tell the whole long story, but it was amazing. The money that showed up to be able to, take the courses that I needed, have the training that I needed. It was a miracle. It happened like 3 times. And once I was gifted like almost $20,000 worth of courses. I mean, if you're meant to do something and you tell the creator, this is what I'd like to do, put it out there. What would you like to manifest? What miracle would you like to have? You're a part of the creator of all that is. You're allowed to ask for miracles. Miracles are for everyone. So, you may not be able to see exactly how it's going to work. It's really just having faith and trusting that the opportunities will come up and that you'll be able to meet the right people, that Metatron can bridge the way for you between yourself and whoever it is that you need to connect with. And I always say, like, at the first quarter moon is when we actually do something, like make an effort to go toward the goal. And that's a week from the new moon. And then we have the arrow. We were just talking about Mars. Receiving this symbol, hang on, reminds you that when you are in alignment with your heart and soul, you are on target and will soon be hitting your mark. Be true to your calling, release attachments, and free yourself from the bondage of unbridled ambition. Now is revealed to be a moment of contact in which your intention meets the material world. The arrow also symbolizes the need to set your creativity free. Even if that's like cooking a meal that you've never cooked before, something to create something. That always like raises our vibration when we create something, working on a project. Okay. And then we have thunder. When thunder comes into your reading, it refers to a big dramatic change that feels like a herd of wild bison on the run. You feel it right down through your bones. And you know that you are powerless to influence whatever events have been set in motion. This is a time to be prepared for anything. Your life is an adventure, and wonderful opportunities are arriving now. The trick is to learn to run with them. Qualities that you'll need now more than ever are flexibility, dexterity, and a willingness to experience it all without dictating from where or in what form the opportunities will come. Your destiny is arriving. Be ready. Do you feel like It's time to say no to drama, both yours and others. Focus on solutions rather than problems. You are worthy of a drama-free life. And then at the bottom of the deck is the moon. Every 28 days, the moon manifests a steady progression from dark to light and then back again. This phenomena in our sky has an impact on our human psyche. It offers us the certainty that after periods of emptiness and darkness, there is a light waiting, so we can be born into a new phase. This calls to mind a native African prayer to the moon. May our lives be renewed as yours is. The moon has a strong influence on the ebb and flow of the waters of the earth. The same power, in turn, affects humans' feelings and emotions and mirrors their rising form or hiding back into the unconscious. This card calls you to go on a journey of renewal, just like the moon does every month, so you can get unstuck, whether from a specific situation or life in general. For this, you need to make time to be with yourself without the distractions of modern society and have the courage to look at the unwanted or unembraced parts of your being until you arrive at a place of resolution. Shamanic lore explains that the finest treasures of humanity are hidden where people are most afraid to go. So we're still in that energy of really going within. I heard Goldie Hawn speaking about her own meditation practice and saying that she takes a few minutes every day just to take deep breaths and clear her mind and really like reset your vibration. You know, I have, because of my work, I get to do that a lot of times throughout the day. It makes a huge difference. It really does. If you can just take the time to breathe deeply and sit with yourself. And I know that that requires discipline when all of these things are going on in Gemini and just, you know, everything else happening outside. But really, we need to take care of pay attention to our vibration right now. So I will be speaking to you again within the next week. It's great to be back with you guys. I apologize that this is so late, and I'm just going to cross my fingers that the internet will be working when I upload it. So everybody take care. Sending you so much love. I forgot that we're going to clean our energy. So go ahead and if you'd like to, just put your feet on the floor. We're going to take a deep cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And center yourself in your heart space. Going to witness about 20 inches above our heads, the stellar gateway filling with the vibration of Archangel Metatron, coming through as the orange ray, moving into the solar star, the soul star, the crown star, the crown chakra, so filling the pineal gland, moving forward to the amygdala, the third eye, as it moves back to the Alta Major at the base of the brain, then filling the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus, the sacral chakra, the root chakra, opening the portal of the root chakra, allowing the cord to release, go down into the earth, witnessing the orange vibration spiraling down through the legs, coming into the earth star, clearing any stuck or stagnant energy around the earth star as she rotates and connects in with the crystalline grid of the earth. Then we're seeing the orange ray flowing up through your aura to the stellar gateway and flowing down to the earth star and flowing up to the stellar gateway and flowing down again, creating a torus field of the orange ray within your space. Going to ask the Creator to clear, align, rotate, open, and connect all of your chakras, harmonizing them, balancing them, filling in any holes or tears in your aura, releasing anything in your aura that has nothing to do with you, any place where a boundary has been infiltrated. Yeah, just say yes if that's okay. We're going to ask the Creator to release all of the little tiny gavels that I'm seeing of judgment. Judgment sent, received, exchanged between yourself and others, sharing forgiveness and unconditional love with them, and cleansing and returning the soul fragments for all of the psychic attacks. You could say yes if that's okay. We're going to ask the Creator to fill every cell of your body with the Creator's peace and unconditional love. You could say yes if that's okay. Do you know what it means to feel calm and centered from the Creator's perspective, and how best to achieve that in your own time? You could say yes. Okay, and then we're just going to come back into our hearts. We'll ask Metatron to zip up our energy. Okay. All right, everybody. So I hope that that was helpful for you. And I will be back next week Love you guys. Thanks again for all of the kind words. I appreciate it. I'm going to ask you to like, comment, or share if you don't mind. YouTube hasn't been sending out notifications, so hopefully this gets out and uploads. All right, everybody, take care of yourselves. Bye.